The first thing the aliens noticed was the silence. Not the absence of sound, but the controlled, deliberate quiet of a world that had learned to survive where no human should have lived. Shadows shifted along the jagged cliffs of Erebus 7, and faint glows traced the edges of cliffside settlements, revealing human figures moving with uncanny precision. There was no panic in their motions, no visible weapons, yet every action seemed to anticipate the next, an invisible choreography that made the most sophisticated alien sensors question their own calculations. Children ran across the cliffside terraces, directing small drones with gestures so fluid it seemed like magic. Adults moved like predators in a forest, surveying, observing, and adjusting instantly to every anomaly. When the Council's first shuttle landed, a group of teenagers guided it through a labyrinthine canyon, sending it tumbling harmlessly over a sheer cliff edge, only for it to land upright on a hidden plateau, systems untouched. The aliens had expected rebellion or perhaps hesitation, but not this mastery of survival turned into subtle menace. A woman emerged from the shadows, tall and lean, her hair streaked with ash and frost from years of harsh winds. Her eyes scanned the alien officers like a predator evaluating prey. She did not bow. She did not speak polite greetings. Instead, she smiled faintly, as though amused by the audacity of their arrival. "You came to see if we were weak," she said softly, her voice carrying across the canyon. "And you've already learned the wrong lesson." The aliens exchanged glances, discomfort rippling through their ranks. Protocol dictated caution, but instinct screamed that something about these humans defied logic. Their defenses were invisible, their strength hidden, yet the humans radiated a calm confidence that no fleet of warships could intimidate. A simple glance from one of the children orchestrating drones was enough to make a seasoned officer hesitate, unsure if the machines were following commands or the humans themselves. As night fell, the colony revealed more of its secrets. Fires along the terraces traced geometric patterns in the darkness, signals that were meaningless to an outside observer but perfectly coordinated to test the intruder's reactions. Probes sent to scan the terrain flickered and malfunctioned, unable to penetrate cloaking fields or interpret the sudden, unpredictable changes in the environment. Every time the aliens thought they had predicted human behavior, the humans shifted, adapted, and evolved, their minds a step ahead in ways the Council had never prepared for. From the cliffside, the woman watched silently, her face lit by the faint glow of hidden lanterns. She was neither young nor old, but every line in her face carried experience. Every movement betrayed a lifetime of adaptation. She was the embodiment of the species forced to survive in impossible conditions, and she smiled because she knew the fear she was instilling was real. The aliens had weapons, technology, fleets, but the humans had something no calculation could account for: unpredictability, ingenuity, and the patience to wait until the right moment to strike. And in that quiet, under the dim light of a distant sun, the humans of Erebus 7 sent their first unspoken message to the galaxy: underestimate us at your own peril. The aliens had arrived expecting control, but instead they found observation, calculation, and a cold, deliberate confidence that made them understand something instinctively true. The humans they had written off as history were the predators now. The alien fleet lingered in orbit, unsure how to proceed. Their initial scans had shown no traditional weapons, yet every probe, every drone, had been twisted into an impossible pattern of futility. They had come expecting to find weakness, to map a helpless colony and report it to the Galactic Council. Instead, they found humans who could predict, manipulate, and outmaneuver the most advanced technology in the galaxy. Ambassador Drac, usually unshakable, felt a ripple of unease as he studied the colony from his observation deck. The humans moved like a single organism, each individual aware not just of their surroundings, but of every other human around them. Children guided drones as if they were extensions of their own limbs. Engineers rerouted energy grids with precision that seemed almost preternatural. Farmers and hunters alike operated with calm efficiency that no simulation had predicted. Every step they took, every movement they made, communicated a subtle but unmistakable message: we are not your prey. The aliens attempted intimidation. Orbital cannons powered up, satellite weapons hummed with lethal energy, and communication beacons broadcast ultimatums: submit to Council authority or face obliteration. The messages declared. The humans did not flinch. Instead, they responded in ways that the aliens could not comprehend. Shimmering energy fields flickered around the cliffside settlements, causing targeting sensors to misfire. Drones designed to follow alien commands suddenly looped in unpredictable arcs, colliding harmlessly with each other while keeping the humans entirely safe. Even the planet itself seemed to conspire. The toxic storms erupted at precisely calculated intervals, forcing alien ships into defensive maneuvers. It was not brute force, but calculated chaos, and the effect on the invaders was profound. What should have been easy conquest had become a nightmare of unpredictability. Officers whispered among themselves, their confidence shaken. Even the most disciplined units faltered, unsure if they were observing clever defense or some inexplicable natural anomaly. On the cliffside, the human leader, tall, wiry, and emanating calm authority, watched the fleet. She did not issue orders loudly. She merely gestured, and the humans around her moved in perfect unison. The alien ships that attempted to probe or fire upon the colony suddenly found themselves unable to land or lock onto targets. Every offensive action was anticipated, every move countered, often before it was executed. It was then that the Council realized a terrifying truth. These humans had turned survival into a weapon. Every lesson learned from generations of isolation had been codified into instinct. Every hardship converted into cunning strategy. The humans had created a network not of machines, but of minds, each one capable of improvisation, deception, and strategic brilliance. By the end of the first day, fear had spread through the alien ranks. Not fear of death. Of course, they were superior in firepower, but fear of the unforeseen, of a species that had learned to anticipate and outwit forces far beyond its apparent capability. Ships that had once bristled with lethal intent now hovered cautiously, hesitant to act, waiting for something they could not predict. From the cliffs, the human leader's voice carried over a communicator they had intercepted. "You came to underestimate us," she said calmly. "You will learn that fear is not born from power, but from knowing you are being outplayed at every turn." The alien officers looked at one another in stunned silence. They had faced countless species across the stars, conquered planets, dismantled civilizations. Yet never had they confronted a species whose mere existence was a lesson in caution, in respect, in fear. And in that moment, the humans of Erebus 7 didn't need to fire a single shot. They had taught the galaxy that survival, ingenuity, and the refusal to be cowed could outmatch technology and brute strength alike. The following weeks were a masterclass in human ingenuity, and the aliens learned quickly that Erebus 7 was no ordinary colony. Every attempt at intimidation, every probe sent to measure human capabilities, was met with responses that seemed impossible. The humans didn't just survive, they shaped the battlefield before it even existed. One of the first major incidents occurred when the Council dispatched a strike fleet designed to test the colony's defenses. Hundreds of ships approached in formation, weapons primed, expecting a quick suppression of the primitive humans. But as they entered the upper atmosphere, everything changed. Thick electrical storms, engineered and controlled by human atmospheric manipulation technology, scrambled navigation systems. Missiles veered off course. Drones collided midair, and alien scanners filled with false signals, echoing images of cities that didn't exist. From the cliffside command centers, the human leader observed the chaos with calm precision. Children operated biodrones, planting decoys and traps, while adults guided energy pulses to selectively disable enemy systems. Engineers rerouted geothermal energy to short-circuit orbital weapons temporarily, and farmers activated seismic traps, sending tremors through the ground that disrupted hovering ships. Each action was timed, coordinated, and executed with flawless improvisation, teaching the aliens a truth that no simulator could calculate. Humans thrive in unpredictability. The aliens retaliated with their most advanced AI-guided weapons, designed to predict and preempt human movements. But even these systems faltered. The humans had created living algorithms, teams of scouts and engineers that adapted in real time, reading enemy tactics and countering them before the AI could react. Drones dispatched to intercept human fighters were lured into ambushes or sent careening into natural hazards, while humans themselves moved through labyrinthine canyon networks invisible from orbit. Reports from the strike fleet described the impossible. Alien commanders watching as their most sophisticated weapons were neutralized without a single human casualty. Entire squads found themselves herded like livestock through tactical traps they hadn't anticipated. Calculations that predicted victory within hours now showed massive losses and zero progress. Morale, once near invincibility, crumbled. Even more terrifying was the psychological warfare. Humans transmitted signals embedded with patterns, music, and coded messages that caused alien drones to behave erratically. Ships were guided into collisions, communication arrays overloaded with nonsensical data, and officers reported seeing ghosts of humans where none existed. Erebus 7 had transformed into a living labyrinth, one where the invaders' strength became a liability and their confidence a weapon against them. By the end of the campaign's first month, the alien fleet had retreated in disarray. They had not lost in the traditional sense. No cities were bombed, no humans killed, but they feared the humans of Erebus 7. Reports described the emotion plainly. The first time in Council history that a species had instilled true fear without firing a shot. The humans celebrated quietly, aware that their battle had not yet ended, but knowing that the galaxy's perception of them had shifted irrevocably. They had proven that strength lay not only in technology or numbers, but in adaptability, ingenuity, and an unshakable will to survive. The colony had become a legend once more, not lost, not forgotten, but a beacon of human cunning and resilience that even the most advanced aliens would never underestimate again. The humans of Erebus 7 did not wait for the aliens to strike again. Having demonstrated their mastery of defense, they began to take the fight to the invaders in subtle, devastating ways. The first offensive maneuver was less about destruction and more about teaching the aliens a lesson in humility and fear. Using small, near-invisible craft, human scouts infiltrated the alien fleet's orbiting stations. They didn't attack directly. Instead, they reprogrammed navigation systems and guidance AI with paradoxes and unpredictable algorithms derived from centuries of surviving Erebus 7's hostile environment. Ships that had once moved with military precision now veered off course, collided in orbit, or became trapped in loops of ineffective maneuvers. Each incident was brief, surgical, and entirely reversible, but enough to create confusion and paranoia among the alien commanders. Meanwhile, on the planet below, humans activated camouflage grids and sonic distortions, masking settlements and creating illusions of massive troop movements where there were none. Alien drones reported phantom cities, phantom armies, and even phantom energy weapons. Every probe sent to verify the information returned contradictory data, forcing alien officers to question their own sensors. In less than a week, the term ghost human began to circulate through the Council's communication networks. The humans also demonstrated psychological warfare on a level the aliens had never conceived. Intercepted transmissions carried subtle threats hidden within seemingly innocuous signals. Nursery rhymes coded with tactical data, musical patterns that disrupted alien sensors, and visual signals that overloaded logic processors with paradoxes. By the time alien officers understood the messages, they had already adapted their plans around false assumptions, often retreating from areas the humans had intentionally vacated. Then came the boldest move, the raid on the orbital command hub. Human pilots, trained in stealth and deception, infiltrated the station, planning countermeasures that temporarily shut down weapons and communication arrays. The aliens, expecting surrender or destruction, instead found their most critical systems sabotaged without a single human casualty. From the cliffside below, the colony's leaders watched through long-range sensors as the fleet descended into chaos. Their victory was silent, methodical, and terrifying, proof that humans did not rely solely on brute force but on cunning, strategy, and anticipation. By the end of the month, reports from the alien fleet were filled with terms previously reserved for myths. Unpredictable, incomprehensible, the prey that commands fear and a predator. Entire fleets hesitated to approach Erebus 7. The once dismissed human colony had become a legend of the galaxy, a species that turned survival into weaponry and taught superior invaders that intelligence, adaptability, and sheer unpredictability could outmatch technology and numbers. The humans themselves celebrated quietly. They had not sought conquest, only survival, and in doing so, They had reshaped the galaxy's perception of humanity. On Erebus 7, children still ran along the cliffside terraces. Engineers still rerouted geothermal energy for both work and play, and scouts still danced through the canyons in patterns designed to confuse and amuse. But somewhere in a fleet of alien warships orbiting the planet, fear lingered, a lasting echo of the lesson that humans could never be underestimated. The legend of Erebus 7 spread faster than any official report could contain. Across the galaxy, species that had once laughed at the idea of human resilience now whispered their caution, sharing stories of the colony that had outwitted fleets, confused AI, and turned the strongest invaders into fearful observers. Ships approached human territories with caution, scanning for traps, anticipating deception, and calculating the unpredictable. Humanity had done more than survive. They had redefined the rules of engagement for the galaxy itself. On Erebus 7, life continued in quiet celebration. The cliffside settlements gleamed with fires and bioluminescent energy grids, signaling both progress and defiance. The humans themselves moved with the same calm precision that had unnerved fleets. Children continued their dances with drones, adults plotted simulations of alien behavior, and scouts mapped the skies for patterns that only humans could read. Every small act of daily life was also a rehearsal in ingenuity, a subtle reminder that even routine existence could be turned into strategy. The alien fleets never returned in force. Smaller reconnaissance missions appeared, but they approached cautiously, scanning for every possible human trick. Ambassador Drac himself sent a delegation, not to conquer, but to observe and learn. When they arrived, the humans welcomed them, not with hostility, but with calculated patience. The humans allowed the aliens to see glimpses of their world, carefully curated to convey strength, adaptability, and intelligence, while hiding the true depth of their ingenuity. In private councils, the aliens admitted a truth they could not deny. Humans were unpredictable, and that unpredictability was a weapon in itself. No protocol, no advanced technology, no fleet could fully anticipate what a human mind might conceive. For every pattern they thought they had discovered, humans revealed a paradox. For every trap they avoided, humans set another. Erebus 7 had taught them that fear was not born from power alone, but from facing an opponent who could think beyond calculation, act beyond expectation, and endure beyond reason. On the cliffs, the human leader, now older, still sharp-eyed, watched the alien ships depart with a sense of quiet satisfaction. Humanity had not only survived isolation and adversity, but had claimed respect through ingenuity and courage. Her eyes swept over the valleys where children ran, drones soared, and engineers tinkered. These humans, unarmed yet unstoppable, represented the culmination of centuries of adaptation. They were not just survivors. They were a symbol of the galaxy's most enduring force: human creativity, resilience, and indomitable spirit. And somewhere deep in the alien fleet, sensors flickered with subtle warning signals as commanders realized a lesson they had learned on Erebus. 7 would follow them forever. The humans of this lost colony had shown that the smallest, most underestimated species could teach the most advanced civilizations a lesson in fear, respect, and impossible consequences of underestimation. The galaxy would never forget Erebus 7, the humans of Erebus. 7 did not need fireworks or grand displays to cement their legend. Their victory was quiet, deliberate, and enduring. Over months and years, alien fleets learned to approach human worlds with caution, hesitation, and most importantly, respect. They had discovered that power alone could not dictate outcomes. A species that could think beyond expectation, adapt without hesitation, and endure the unthinkable could rewrite the rules of engagement. On the planet itself, life thrived in ways that belied the harsh environment. Cliffside settlements hummed with energy grids and geothermal systems. Terraces glowed with bioluminescent crops, and children ran freely. Their games intertwined with lessons in strategy and ingenuity. Adults moved with purpose, guiding drones, rerouting energy flows, and orchestrating exercises that trained the colony in both survival and deception. Every small act, every detail of life, was a lesson in human adaptability, and the aliens, though far away, had learned to fear it. The human leader, now graying at the temples but still sharp-eyed, looked out over the valley as the twin sons of Erebus 7 dipped below the horizon. She saw the laughter of children, the focused work of engineers, and the quiet vigilance of scouts patrolling the cliffs. In each movement, she recognized the culmination of centuries of survival, the unbroken thread of ingenuity, resilience, and determination that made humanity a force even the most advanced civilizations could not underestimate. In the distant reaches of space, alien commanders shared reports not of conquest, but of bewilderment and caution. They spoke in hushed tones of the species that outthought their algorithms, outmaneuvered their fleets, and instilled fear without ever firing a single indiscriminate shot. Humanity had proven that intelligence, creativity, and the will to endure were mightier than any weapon, and that underestimation could be fatal. Erebus 7, once thought lost, had become a symbol across the stars, a reminder that even the smallest, most isolated colony could change the course of history. Humans had not only survived, they had taught the galaxy to respect fear itself, shaping the future in ways no alien fleet could fully comprehend. And in that quiet, enduring legacy, the message was clear: underestimate humanity, and you would learn the meaning of fear.